I think if you heal your heart, you heal your mind. I think you heal your mind, you heal your heart. You can't bypass the relationship between the heart and the brain. And there's a very strong correlation. In one of our events, we hooked up a heart rate monitor to the brain scan. And the brain may think, but the heart knows. And when you can teach people how to move out of those emotional states, those conditioned addictive states of the arousal of survival, and not try to anticipate the future based on the past, and not default out of the present moment, if you can teach them how to get beyond the habits and emotions of their body, to get beyond thinking about the predictable future, the known, or the familiar past, the known, and settle into the present moment, overcome their environment and all the stimulation that causes them to feel a certain way, and lock into that present moment, and work with their body long enough to begin to break the chain of thinking and feeling that's based on these lower hormonal energy centers, emotional centers, and start working with their body and settle into the unknown, the present moment, and teach them how to relax in that state. Nothing bad happens to them, because the unknown normally in survival is a scary place. You stretch the veneer of what's possible, they can relax into the unknown and give them something to do. If they keep relaxing into their heart, we discovered very early on when they did that properly, and it was hooked up to a brain scan, like picking up a sheet and going like this, the heart was sending a wave of information to the brain to move into these beautiful alpha states. It was informing the brain that it was safe to create. People come to our work, Florence, for all kinds of reasons. They come to heal, they come to find love, they come to get beyond their traumas of the past, they come for a mystical experience, they come for wealth or abundance. But really, I think what people really come for is wholeness. And when you see brain and heart coherence, this union of the two, of the heart and the mind, or the heart and the brain, there is a sense of wholeness, there is a sense of healing. And I think if you heal your heart, you heal your mind. I think you heal your mind, you heal your heart. And when people finally break free from those chains of the emotions that they live by on a daily basis, when they break free of their habituations, even in the way they speak, when they overcome their hardwired beliefs that they've thought over and over again until they accepted them without any analysis, when they overcome that programming to a certain degree, that wholeness that they feel is the healing in and of itself. They're not waiting for their healing or their health to change so they could feel gratitude, so they could feel whole. They actually understand that when they feel gratitude and they feel wholeness, that's when their healing begins. So then anything that causes us to move out of that state within us, a reaction or a response from someone or something in our life that would move us from that state of grace, I promise you, if you're truly in the river of change and you wanted to heal, you would think about how you would respond differently to that person or circumstance the next time, so you wouldn't lose that feeling, because you would actually no longer be signaling the same genes in the same way. The moment you felt familiar emotions, you would be signaling old genes. And so the person who understands the what in what they're doing, and the why, that if I live by this emotional state every single day, if the environment signals the gene, okay, and the end product of an experience in the environment is an emotion. If I live by this emotion, I could signal genes ahead of my environment, and I could actually change my health. Now, this is when meditation no longer becomes a have-to. This is now when meditation becomes very practical, because the person is going to rehearse in their mind how they are going to think in their day, what they are going to believe. And they're going to repeat it enough times, and a belief is just a thought you keep thinking over and over again until it becomes hardwired in your brain. They're going to review that belief, and they're going to keep firing and wiring it. They're going to change the way they respond to their coworker, to their spouse, to their boss, to the news. They're going to change their response, and they're going to rehearse it in their mind. And mental rehearsal, as you know, changes the brain to look like it's already happened. They're going to say, I got to feel this feeling. If it takes me 100 times today to feel this feeling, I'm going to bring it up 100 times over and over again, so I get so good at feeling it, I can bring it up whenever I want and stop from default, right? I think when people do that the overcoming process is the becoming process. That so many people have healed in this work and they didn't even realize that when they were sitting and their body was raging and out of balance, and they were working with settling it down and overcoming those survival emotions, overcoming those programs, those habituations, that overcoming process was actually the becoming process. So many people, when they actually got to the point where they were so happy with themselves, so in love with themselves, so in love with life, so grateful for being alive, they could care less if they had their health condition. They no longer identified with it any longer. That was the moment it went away. And you ask that person, where is the disease? They'll tell you it's in the old person. They healed themselves by changing themselves. They're happy with themselves now. They don't want to be anybody else really than who they are. I think that is a liberation for the individual. And I will say, some people really, it takes them a little bit of time to do that. And we've had people for 7 years, for 10 years with a health condition. It took them 7 to 10 years until all those tumors were gone, until their neurological disorder was changed. And yet we're now discovering a person can have an interaction with something so profoundly big that their inner experience moves their brain and body right out of the past, right into the present moment, and the body gets an upgrade. In 1 second, there's the tumor, now it's gone. There's the paralysis, now it's gone. There's the sclerotic borders of the neurons, now it's gone. Now there's the blindness, now it's gone. So we're seeing now that people are able to shorten the distance between the thought of what they want and the experience of having it. And I think that empowers people. I mean, you become empowered that you, in fact, are creating that outcome. You're less likely to be a victim of your life and saying that person or that circumstance is really making me feel and think this way. That the way they're thinking, the way they're feeling is actually producing an outcome in their life. That's when we switch from being the victim to being the creator. And you only need a few of those synchronicities, those opportunities, those coincidences to cause you to show up and create again. And that's what I'm the most pleased with and overjoyed with our community is that people do the work, not because they have to, because they want to, because they don't want the magic to end in their lives. So we can go as far as you want to go, but the truth is that healing happens when we move beyond ourselves.